So looks like this episode is going to be a complete takedown of the Indian sporting scene. So before we begin, let's buy some insurance.
Bharat Mata Ki Jai.
Bande Mataram! Now since my patriotism is proven, let's jump right in. So today's episode promises to be the most power-packed episode yet. Today we will tell you how bad we are as a sporting nation, exactly what is wrong with our sporting culture, and what are the 4 M's that we must immediately address. We will also tell you what is being done and what needs to be done still. So stay tuned right till the end, and also please subscribe to Free Text to get a fresh perspective and insight every other week, both in Hindi and English.
We, a nation of 130 crore people, have managed just a total of 14 medals with a single gold since 1984. That's 36 long years.
Our medal tally is so miserable that we couldn't even find another country to compare it with. So we had to actually compare our entire country's medal tally with individual athletes. But turns out even here, over 15 athletes have won more medals all on their own in their limited careers of 8 to 12 years than we have as a nation in over 36 years.
Time for some more stats. Michael Phelps, the famous Olympic swimmer, has won twice the number of medals than we have as a nation since 1984. And even if for a moment we just keep the Olympic medals aside and just think about our global rankings in some of the popular sports that we play in our country, we will find that except for hockey, badminton and shooting, we're not even in top 10 in most of these sports. And even in some of the sports, we're not even in top 100.
Of all the nations, even North Korea, a declared rogue nation, has got more medals than us in the last 35 years. Whereas I have grown up all my life believing their competitions are run like this.
Olympic Games.
Get set.
At which he won 14 gold medals.
To put it politely, we need improvement. To be honest, we totally suck at sports like we do in so many other things. But today is only going to be about sports.
Now we might say that this is due to the Indian mindset that focuses more on education and ignores the sport. And it could be true to an extent. But this does not hold good even on education. The problem is that we are neither focused on education nor on sports. Because when we genuinely focus on something, this is something that we produce.
The way things are going, the only biopics that we will have will be of cricketers. And the subjects will be so few that even he might get a biopic. And I won't be surprised if it could be an IPL captain due to lack of choices, he can for sure land a biopic. Maybe in Tamil.
Alright, so coming back to today's issues on what's happening to other sports, let's find it out in our Month Ka Mudda, Where Are My Medals?
So we broadly grouped our challenges into 4 M's. Modi ji are inspiration. Our 4 M's are money, management, mindset and mudda. Number 1, money. Now the narrative that the government will give you is that during this government, our sports budget has nearly tripled from 1,000 crores to 2,800 crores. However, the truth is, our annual budget has also doubled during this period, and even today our overall sports budget is less than 0.1% of our total union budget. Now compare this to China, which at 4 lakh crores spends nearly 2% of its total budget on sports exclusively.
Like we explained in our episode 2, that India is not a poor country and we must not let the government use this as an excuse and ignore spending in the areas like sports, education, healthcare, law and justice, etc. etc. Because when we let the government off the hook, apathy sets in, and this is what it leads to.
Like Makan Singh, a runner who defeated the legendary Milkha Singh in 1962, ultimately had to drive a truck, during which he met with an accident, lost his legs, lost both his sons, and ultimately had to take help from the same Milkha Singh to set up a kerosene depot. He died of a cardiac arrest in 2003, then his wife had to suffer all the way till 2013 till Sushma Swaraj actually interfered and got the government to provide aid to his widow.
There are several others. Dinesh Kumar, an Arjuna Award winning boxer, sells kulfis today. Shanti Devi, once a pro kabaddi captain, sells vegetables in Bihar. Rashmita Patra, a relay race athlete, runs a pawn shop. Sita Sahu, who won 2 bronze medals at Athens Special Olympics in 2011, sells pani puri, or for that matter Asha Roy, the fastest female runner, tipped to be the next PT Usha once, is now selling vegetables to keep her family going. Prabhu and Sushil, great writers, stuck in a corporate job.
And what's common with all these athletes are their injuries. And since India has a horrible rehab infrastructure and no real provisions to send low-ranked domestic players for recovery abroad, none of them could recover fully to play competitive sports again. And with no financial aid coming either from the government or local federations, all of them were left to their own fates. Now, despite highly limiting circumstances, we do have some trailblazers like Hima Das from Assam, who practice sprinting without shoes in mud fields in Assam. But with the right support locally, she was able to somehow break through to the Indian sprinting team that is, and was able to bag several awards at the Asian Games at the age of 19. She's also referred to as a Ding Express, and even Adidas today has a shoe line named exclusively after her.
The government has also taken some baby steps, like the Target Olympic Podium Scheme, or simply call it as TOPS program, where the government will spend about 100 crores on 100 odd promising sports persons and get them ready for the Olympics 2020, which thanks to Corona has been cancelled this year.
But 100 crores really? Compare this with the UK, which spent 2,470 crores on 374 athletes back in 2017. That is our entire sports budget spent on a single event. To give you a perspective, Dhoni's biopic costed more than this.
Alright, well, we are no sports experts, but this is something that we can do at least. Increase the spend on sports from current 0.1% to at least 2% of the total annual budget for the next 4 to 5 years. Encourage more private participation in the sports like this. And I understand that building up of any kind of sports infrastructure in the country takes some time. But till the time that happens, we can at least ensure that the sports persons who are registered with government bodies get enough stipend so that they don't have to quit and fend for themselves. Now imagine, even if 1% of these people are totally passionate about their job, this investment will still be worth it. Last but not the least, please subscribe to our channel, because this will not even cost you a single rupee.
Our second M is management.
Now this is one area where we have seen improvements from an era where we had him, to all of them who have literally commanded and governed the sports bodies of their respective states and even on national level, with no or negligible experience of having played the sport themselves.
To an era where we had an Olympic silver medalist, Rajvardhan Singh Rathod, who was appointed as a sports minister. He was also made head of Sports Authority of India, the highest sports governing body of the nation. Such moves at least made us believe that the government's heart and the mind are in the right place. However, since Modi Sarkar came back into power, Kiran Rijiju has now been made the Minister of Sports, who was earlier a Deputy Minister in the Home Ministry.
Well, even here, if you scratch the surface, you will find out that even today, the second and third in-line positions in most of these sports bodies are political appointments.
Now, we don't mean to say that only sportsmen can run sports bodies. For example, Lalit Modi has done far more to monetize himself and Indian cricket than anybody else before or after him.
Mr. Dalmia was one of the finest BCCI administrators ever. But we know that you will run out of patience if we go on and explain the profiles of each of India's key office bearers. So just in case you know of any India's Assange out there, do let us know in the comment sections below, and we will try and get some useful links for the same.
Okay, so we're not done yet. Important subjects take time, so stay tuned.
So the third M is the mindset of both the government and the people. A mindset where sports is seen as a vocation or a hobby and not a real thing, a real business or a real career, except when it comes to cricket. And that too has taken a long time settling in our minds. Now, sports is a big business, and did you know that Americans spend about $100 billion on sports every year? That's 60% of our IT BPO services sector and almost double the size of our pharmaceutical industry that put together gives employment to about 10 million plus people.
Like, we were surprised and shocked to find out sporting infrastructure became a recognized industry only in 2016. This only goes to show how less the governments in this country have cared about sports. Even my home science teacher had more respect in school.
Well, thanks to the IPL, we now have a real business case. A case that you can use to understand what is possible when you start taking sports seriously and run it like a professional business. Well, there are critics in the market who would say that the IPL has damaged the purest form of cricket. But then I bet there are a few classy batsmen out there in the game, like our very own Cheteshwar Pujara, who have stayed true to his game and will put you to sleep in about 20 minutes max.
But the point is, other non-cricketing sports which are currently in tatters will only find hope when the government changes its mindset, and that brings us to a fourth M, which is Mudda.
So when was the last time you remember any politician won an election by building a stadium or launching a new sports policy? Do you remember? Because honestly speaking, I don't. It's like a team building idea that counts for nothing during your appraisal, hence no one cares.
Democracies with all their advantage have a big limitation, and that being they run on popular moods and votes. And since the public of India would never vote in enough numbers on issues such as sports, clean energy, LGBTQ and others, these issues will never find center stage in this country.
The only way this will change is either when the sports industry becomes so big that it starts funding the political campaigns, or we start putting pressures on our local MLAs or politicians to start building the sporting infrastructure and release funds for the budding athletes. Or if some athletes commit suicide and their stories go viral, hopefully forcing the authorities to act.
There are many more M's that we could add to this. Foremost being the media, and how less these issues are reported and how easily our leaders are let off.
But we promise to keep on reporting on issues that matter. But for today, that's all we have.
To show your support to Free Text and to this cause, please widely share this video and do subscribe and press the bell icon. Also in the comment section, let us know if you would like us to make a follow-up of this episode to cover more topics and more issues. I hope you thoroughly enjoyed this. I am Prabhu. Thank you very much. God bless you.
Like always, leaving you with some free text facts of hope, and hopefully these will bring in some relief. Hope you enjoyed today's topic. We'll be back with a brand new topic soon. Thank you for watching and goodbye.